Wait, how's my levels over there? Is good? Levels are good.
Let's
All right.
go.
Damn, bro. What happened?
No, it's good.
We're
It's
good.
good. Yeah, yeah,
We're good.
yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. All right, bro. Where we at? Where we at? OTR.
Right now we're at Lynx Music.
What's the date, man?
The
Don't
date.
don't mind the awkwardness, guys, bro. It's our first time doing this podcast shit.
This is the pilot, guys. So just be ready. Be ready for a wild ride.
Yeah.
It's January 13th. Most important day of January is in 5 days.
And why is that?
Big guy's birthday right here. So
This guy's a unk.
it'd
This guy's a
be like
unk.
that. It'd be like that.
Yeah, man. So I guess we could just really just go straight into it. First, I just want to ask you, bro, how's the year for you? How's 2024? I know 2024 was a big year, a lot of ups and downs, but how was the year for you?
100%. 2024 was honestly, like you said, a lot of ups and downs, but the ups were great. Popped outside a lot more, started getting booked more.
That's what's up.
Was able to say that I'm now a Grammy nominated engineer, DJ.
First off, we didn't even cheers, bro.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even cheers, bro. This is the birth of our podcast.
Right?
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, no, honestly, a lot of great things to be proud of. And I'm honestly just looking forward for this year, especially with what we're about to start right now. How about you?
2024, man. What can I say? It's all a blur, to be honest. If I'm being honest with you, how I'm feeling right now, I'm burnt out. My close friends know how I've been feeling lately, but
100%.
I'm just really thinking about 2024 as a whole for me. I didn't really take no breaks since January of last year. Like January last year, I just took on the year head on.
Yeah, yeah.
Was spinning left, right, center. So I'm kind of burnt out right now. And like, man, this is the shit that happens when we DJ, you know? People think that we just go on there and, you know, they think we just press play on a CDJ and just let it ride, but you know,
Bro, it takes a toll on your body, on your mental, on just like
yeah.
any other job, you know? It
Yeah.
looks fun, but there's a lot that goes on behind
Something
the
that
scenes.
these new gen DJs can take a note from is it gets hectic. You got to take care of yourself, and I haven't been taking care of myself. If I'm being honest, from last year, as much as fun as I had, a lot of things I'm proud of, a lot of places I wanted to spin at that I got to spin at, but right now, what is it? On January 13th, right
Yeah.
now, I'm burnt the fuck out to the point where right now I'm kind of feel like I'm losing the love to DJ because it's taking a toll, but you know, we got to push through it, right?
It's about balance at the end of the day too, right? Like you can't just be locked in on one thing and not be focusing on all the other aspects of life, you know? If you're
100%.
spending like fucking 5-6 times a week,
Yeah.
like you don't really have time to do other things, and then if you have a family, if you have a regular job, like you got to balance all that stuff out, right? So it takes a toll on you for sure, but I'm glad that you recognized it and then now you're able to, put some shit into action to change it.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think like people know, you know, cuz we're two different people, you know. You're on here and DJing is like your full-time gig aside from all your engineering stuff, but I got a 9 to 5 too, so
Yeah.
people might only see me DJing on the weekend, but you know, I got a 9 to 5. I got other shit that I'm doing. So like those late nights and early mornings definitely take a toll on me. So, you know, I got to have that good balance. So
No,
that's what
100%.
I'm trying to work on this year, just to be a little bit more selective. I guess I could ask you because I just said it myself. What's your resolution for this year?
Fuck, I feel like I got a bunch. A lot of them has to do with just life shit. Taking care of business, handling finance, just life stuff.
Yeah, facts.
But on the other end, it's really just like expanding my reach when it comes to being an engineer, being a DJ. I've been fortunate to one do this for so long and it being my full-time thing. I've also been fortunate to play in a bunch of different places, the opportunities of people I've gotten to work with. Um, but I felt like for the longest time I was always pouring into other people's situations, whether it's the artists that I'm working with, or even on the side of things, like not really honoring myself as a good DJ or as someone that deserves space in certain places. And I feel like that's
Facts.
like something that I really need to work on this year. I've had a lot of the homies always tell me, like you need to pop out more, like you're a good DJ, like whatever it is, but I've been in my head about a lot of that shit. So moving into this year, it's kind of like blocking out all the noise and just going head on with this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can get into the first segment of our podcast. Again, this is just a pilot, so over here in this episode, we're just gonna be talking about the regular shit that you would ask DJs, and you know, I think you should tell the people where you from, because you're not from here.
No, it's facts. To actually before that, so the podcast, we gotta tell them the name too, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
podcast name is "Can I Get a Request?" No, you can't.
That's some shit that we literally. I'm not gonna say I hate it because there are times where someone might request something and it actually makes sense, and I could be stuck like what should I play next, and somebody says something, I'm like, oh,
Like, yeah,
but 99% of the times it's bullshit. So I feel
that's
like it's the biggest conversation starter as DJs. It's like, can I get a request? I feel like we're all opinionated about it. I felt like
hmm
we thought the name felt right about what we were trying to get into.
yeah, and I mean, like, it's funny because you know we're gonna start requesting some of our peers to get on this podcast, so kind of just works hand in hand, and a
Yeah,
double-edged sword,
100%.
and the fact of just us asking now and us hating to be asked uh for requests. But yeah, man, like tell the people, bro, because I'm from the city and you're not from the city,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not many people know that.
Yeah,
uh,
no. Yeah, so I'm from Ottawa, born and raised my whole life. Came to Toronto for college and went back to Ottawa, and then popped back out here in 2018, and just yeah, I was embedded in or locked into the community through
mhm.
Remix, and then from there it was just yeah, just finding my way. So been here for 6 years now.
6 years is probably a tough time trying to navigate through a city that you know you're either you were here back and forth or just starting up new, because it's not like when you're back home, you know you have that comfort of knowing people, just being around, knowing your way around the city.
Yeah,
Then you come to somewhere like here and you got to kind of start brand new, no?
yeah, literally. It was literally starting brand new. Definitely on the life side, like skill set and stuff like that. It wasn't really starting brand new, obviously,
hmm
but like when you come here and it's like you don't know anybody, you got to like rebuild from the ground up, So it was really a lot of just finding my crowd, finding the people that I really rock with. And to be fair, like I don't think Toronto's an easy place to find people that are real. I think and it depends on your personality too.
Right.
So I think for me, it took way longer than I expected. I would say like last year was definitely one of the years where I really felt like I actually started to meet people that
hmm
had my back throughout whatever was going on, or just looked out for me when it came to like opportunities, gigs,
Right.
hitting me up to go grab food, to just kick it, just do
Yeah.
regular people shit, right? Um, but every year that I go by in Toronto, I feel like it's becoming more and more home, which is kind of crazy to say.
Uh, that's what's up. At least that's a sign of progression.
Yeah,
And like, you know, I mean, I've been here my whole life. I grew up in the city, so I know my ins and out in the city. Um, I came from a background of just I used to just be going out all the time. So that's how I got into my own pocket, and kind of just knowing the right people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
kind of just, oh, I know this guy, knowing the promoters because I used to go out a lot. And I guess that's gonna lead us into um our next segment here in this intro is, how did you start DJing?
I started DJing because of influence from people that I was around, like my parents' friends and stuff like that.
hmm
Um, I always grew up wanting to be a DJ. Like it was something that I said I wanted to do
Yeah.
from a young age. I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but just growing up, like I was like dubbing cassettes with my dad at a young age. I was um obviously we were all burning CDs, like a
Hmm.
lot. But I was just very like influenced by the music around me that my parents were playing, that my sisters would play, and then like my neighbors, my neighbor who was a close family friend, he was a DJ. So like we'd be at the crib, he'd be DJing. He'd always put me onto new music. My dad played a lot of music, a lot of the Stone Love mixes, listening to like CDs that are basically like recorded from a party.
Right.
So it's like now you're hearing like you're hearing the energy of the room,
Right.
you're hearing the mixes that they're doing, how they're emceeing on the microphone, and all that stuff was always very like, I don't know, I loved it.
Right.
So probably like grade 11 was when I really started to get into DJing, or even just like as a hobby. Started recording mixes for like a 1-2 house parties,
Right.
stuff like that. And then as soon as I graduated, I got my first piece of like DJ like equipment.
Yeah, what was that? What was your first piece of DJ equipment?
First piece of DJ equipment, because the mixes that I was making them on virtual DJ on the computer. The first piece
So
was
not
that
even without
like,
a deck,
yeah, no, it was just like fader, EQs. Like I was
but
like
on the
on the
mouse.
mouse, yeah,
That's
like
crazy
literally.
work.
Um, the first piece was actually one of those little like rectangular DJ controllers that is like the little small joints. I can't remember the name right now, but like
Right.
Newmark makes them. A bunch of different companies make them. I'm pretty sure the one that I had was like a Newmark one.
Right.
And then after that, I jumped from that to turntables and the Tractor. What is it? The Z2 controller or
Yeah.
Z2 mixer. Um, so yeah, it started off like that. How about you?
Yeah.
How do you start into? What brought you into DJing?
So I mean, just a backstory about me, right? Like I said, I grew up in the city. I used to go out all the time, and I just remember every time I go out, I've been I've been blessed because like I know the owners, so it was never nothing for me to come through to a club, especially on King, and just pull up to the spot, and then they would just introduce me to the DJs, and I've always been I like to say I've always been very musically inclined, so I'd always just find myself at the DJ booth, and then I'd be chilling with the DJs, and you know I'd be like I'd be like, what you call, like, I used to be those guys, like, the guys that spin on vinyl back in the day, and they would have someone, like, sift through their vinyl, pass some vinyl, so I'd be like one of those guys to my boys I'd be DJing where, it'd be, like, prime time or whatever, and they would forget to play a song, I'd be like, "Yo, you should just run this," and they'd be like, "Oh, shit, I forgot about that." So I mean, I think that's where I first got introduced to DJ where I was like, "Oh, I think I can do this."
Yeah, yeah.
But like that was like maybe like 2017, 2019, and then obviously the world shut down, and in between that time of COVID, at that time I had started my own clothing line. Some people know it as Anti, but that used to be my shit, and I would always have pop-ups, and we used to do pop-ups in, like, Kensington, kind of on Queen, like, we used to be all over the place, and, funny enough, that's how I met Pat, and for those who don't know Pat, I'm talking about a man like Pat, that's how I met Pat, and then he started as a customer of mine, then we obviously fast forward now we're
Oh shit,
boys.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to be he used to be a customer of mine, he used to buy some shirts off me and, like,
That's
obviously
crazy.
follow him on the gram, so shout out Pat. And I seen that he was DJing, so I'd be like, "Yo, why'd you come DJ, why'd you come spin our, pop-ups?" And obviously, like, I would always just find myself, like, just right there by the DJ shit. I'd be like, "Yo, let me hop on this." And I would just, like, fuck around and practice, and I'm talking about live in the pop-up. So, fast forward, just I'm just talking about it, and I remember he lent me his actually didn't even lend me it. I bought it off him. It was the it's what the Flex, what is it, the Flex 4 is now?
What is it, like the
Yeah,
SR2?
SR2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the SR2, that was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
first controller, like, that I was really practicing on. He sold it to me, and then I was just practicing, like, "Yo, why don't you just, like, try this? Just try DJing." And "Ah, I don't know." And then he would just tell me, he's like, "Yo, just do it." And then literally that's how it all started for me. I ended up, I remember, so funny. I remember when I first took it serious, man. And I tell you, so I'm coming in this like that wave of DJs that came out of COVID.
Yeah.
So I remember it's funny. I remember Pat gave me Pat gave me the controller, and then I still didn't know about, I knew about crate programs, but I didn't know the workaround on it, so like BPM Supreme and heavy hits and stuff. So I remember I was like, "Yo," I remember I was like, "Yo, can you?" I'm like, "Yo, can you send me your shit, like music?" It's funny though,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, I was brand new, you know. I was like, I didn't like, I just didn't know where to get music from.
It's like it doesn't work like that, but sure.
And then Pat actually told me, he's like, "Yo, bro," he's like, "Yo, if you're gonna go head on to this thing, like, you gotta do your time." And I was like, probably one of the first lessons that I learned when it came to DJing is like, cause me, I thought it was just, like I said, I was like a newbie. I thought it
Mhm.
was just YouTube to MP3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you're buying music off iTunes
Yep.
back at like those times. Um, so I didn't know. I thought it was just ripping music, but then eventually you learn that like ripping music, that's like a compressed file, so it doesn't sound good on the speakers and all of that. So yeah, I mean that's how it really started. And like I said, it was I'm blessed enough that it was easy for me to get my foot in the door because again, I used to I used to go out a lot.
Yeah.
I met these owners, I met these promoters, so I got my I got my in, like more faster than some
Yeah.
normal people would, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I started. And yeah, man, I mean, that's like, again, man, to these new gen DJs, bro, the cat take it from me. Like asking for libraries, some
You
that's
gotta
like,
put in the work, man. This
yeah,
some people collect they've been collecting their libraries for like decades, right?
yeah,
And they might be your favorite DJ. You can never just go up to them and be like, "Yo, can you, give me some music?" Like it doesn't work like that. It's like it's it's all part of the groundwork, right? Before you can
yeah,
even part of even DJing is understanding your library. So if I give you my library, like you still got to do the work
to look through it.
to learn that library, right? So when you do it yourself, it kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, man. So, anyways, shout out Pat. That's how I started DJing. For those who want to know how I started DJing, so shout out Pat. He really pushed me to get out of my comfort zone, and I was already out there in terms of running a clothing line, and I had my time, like a lot of fun times running that clothing line, and like, yeah,
Still do some drops.
yeah, I
You
still
still
do
do
a
some
little one
drops
two
too.
here and
Yeah.
there, but DJing kind of took over my life now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And
It's funny because we like everyone's always gonna have an interesting like part of their story about how they started, right? Like
right,
the Pat shit, I never knew that at all. Like that was
yeah, that's news to
yeah,
you, right?
that's news. Yeah, shout out Pat
Shout
for
out
real.
Pat.
Yeah,
So I guess the next thing that we'll get into is, we didn't just randomly meet, right?
no, yeah, that's facts.
It's
I
been what? How
mean,
long I've known you now? Like 2 years now.
yeah, probably 2 years now.
2 years
Um,
I've met you.
yeah, I mean, even that, like when it goes back to me saying like trying to find real people in the city is not easy. Like
Yeah.
what I've been in the city for like I said 6 years. Met you. I think it was last year actually. Last October.
No, it was like 2023, man. I could have sworn it was 2023. It was that night that I was spinning at lobby.
Maybe it was 2023. I don't know. Oh yeah, cause yeah,
It was
yeah.
April.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that we're in 2025. Yeah,
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 it's April. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's about
Yeah,
going
it's been a
into
little minute, but yeah, we met through. I don't know, mutual homie,
Mhm. Yeah.
Mr. Polo.
Shout out Polo.
Shout out Polo. Polo was spinning with you a lot. Polo always hits me up when he comes to the city.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, "Yo, I'm introduce you to Dolph." He's like, maybe try to get you on a 1-2 lobby event.
Yeah, cuz
Um,
you were already here. I just didn't know.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing too. Like I was spinning a lot pre-pandemic, and then pandemic hit, and then I took like a little hiatus break. I was still spinning. I was still doing corporate stuff. I still had like my 1-2 residencies, but I wasn't outside
Yeah, but
looking
like
for gigs like that.
yeah, like
So
main like
especially
Queen.
like on the Queen Street
Yeah.
clubs and like stuff like that. So a lot of people in the industry might have heard my name before, but they've never like there was never a face to it, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, then we locked in. I did the one lobby gig with you, um,
Yeah.
and then from there we did the little tour, like we did a
Yeah, we
little
went to
Ottawa.
we went to Ottawa and Montreal, which was
Yeah,
fun.
first time spending at an apartment out there. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was a good
That was a
time,
good
man.
time.
That was a good time.
Um, and then yeah, I came back to the city, and then we just
Just
kind of just been locked in since, just
yeah.
month after month, just been
Yeah.
trying to figure shit out,
Just trying to yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like I guess part of the reason why I can say we started as podcasts is because as me and you got to know each other, bro, I would call you and be like, "Yo, what the fuck? This shit happened to me. This shit happened to me." So pretty much, man, we started this podcast. We started this podcast off just sharing stories about all the
yeah,
bullshit that we go through, and just to put an emphasis on why we're doing this podcast is because, bro, DJs have some crazy stories to tell. Like, I got a lot of crazy stories to tell. I've only been DJing. This is in July of this year is 3 years, so I can only imagine what all of our peers have to say
yeah.
and what all the stuff that they've been going through. I mean, I'm talking about A to Z, man. From stuff we deal with, DJ to club, from DJ to promoter, from DJ to a club goer, just some crazy shit that
Equipment.
equipment. So, I like to say that this podcast is really just about. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of stuff DJs want to talk about, but there's just no platform for them to talk about it.
Facts, yeah.
And I find myself calling you. I'll call Mike. I'll call Pat. I'll call Darcy behind the cam. Shout out
Shout out
Darcy.
Darcy.
I'll call Darcy. I'll call Pam. Like all these people, and just be like, "Yo, what the hell? Like, have you ever experienced this?
And
This?
a
You
lot of
know?"
the times we've all experienced something similar or the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there was mad times where I was telling you stuff like, "Yo, this is happening," and you're like, "Oh, maybe it's just because of this," and then after you see it firsthand, you're like, "Oh, okay," you know.
Yeah. I guess next question we can ask is, um, like any early influences like DJs, producers, like any of that stuff that made you be like, oh, like I want to take inspiration from this person and that person.
On the DJ side, it was really just the dancehall culture. Like
Facts.
it was really just. I don't think I was a nerd in the sense of like let me find out who this DJ is and who that person is, but it was just more so of like the culture of it, listening to like I said, like the Stone Love mixes, um, even just going to Jamaica and just seeing DJs, like the way that I would see them make a whole party from go crazy from like the beginning of the party to the very last minute, was always like super inspiring to me. It was always something that like was just that was really what was influencing me.
Yeah.
It was the culture of what I was surrounded by. So
Yeah.
like I don't like there are guys that like definitely as I got older I was just like, oh, like,
Like a
you know
Puffy.
like I mean, Puffy is probably a newer person for me for sure. Clark Kent was
Oh, okay. Yeah.
definitely somebody that um,
Yeah.
I was definitely influenced by when I found out who Clark Kent was and like
Hmm.
what he was doing. And mind you, he wasn't just a DJ, right? He was also a producer.
Yeah.
A lot of great big records from people in New York.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely relate to that from the production side.
right? So,
Right.
um, I would say definitely it was more so of like the environment of the culture of DJing than it was one specific person.
Right. I think for me, um, it probably had to be like some of these artist DJs. Like yeah, I'm a huge Travis Scott fan, so someone like Chase B.
Hmm.
I've seen some artist DJs and they're not really DJs.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, especially now, right? Because
Yeah.
it's DJing is so accessible. So there's a lot of people who DJ for certain artists, and
It's like they're press and
they're just
play.
press and play. Yeah,
Yeah, they're like press and play on Spotify or
yeah,
some shit. But yeah, definitely someone like Chase B, because like I remember like going to concerts and he would open up for Travis and like I'm like, damn, like you're an actual DJ, you're
hmm,
scratching
yep.
and all of that. So definitely someone like Chase B. I think I think also just again, like if I'm being honest, like just going outside and just I wouldn't want to say it's a specific person, but just seeing the way like how DJs can control like like they control the room.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
And like I remember, man, when I was in high school, I used to throw house parties. I used to be running aux.
hmm,
So I kind of related to that sense.
yeah,
Where it's like, oh, when I was in high school, I was the guy. We'd go I would love to organize like parties at my house. Or just even get-togethers. But
yeah,
then I would just run aux, curate
yeah,
playlists.
yeah,
So I feel like that made it a lot easier for me to get into DJing and understanding like mixing and back then I'm just talking about like I'm I'm compiling a playlist,
yeah,
like not even like actually mixing, but it made it a lot easier for me to learn how to mix because it's weird. Like I can listen to a song and have like a slight understanding of what BPM it is without knowing the BPM.
yeah. Especially now when you DJ so much, you're like, yeah, it's around this
Yeah, that's
tempo, and
about
then
that's about like 90 BPMs
yeah.
here or
We
eight.
have these conversations too, where we're
Yeah,
like, yeah, this song, oh yeah, that song, yeah, it's in this,
yeah.
I have these conversations with a lot of the DJs on
Yeah,
me.
sometimes like, I be spinning with like you and Rennie, and I think like the one thing I love about spinning with guys like you is like, bro, like there's times where we're in a jam and it'll be like, yo, just run this,
Yeah,
and then just like, and it just works
it
out.
works. Yeah,
So, so yeah, I mean, I feel like for me again, like aside from someone like a Chase B, but I think more it was more so just the just seeing how much control. And listen, bro, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not a controlling person, but I'm just saying that like having the keys to to the night and just seeing like how people react to
hmm,
what you're spinning. You know what I mean? That's I think that's for me, like that's what I really love about
and we're
DJing.
creating good memories. So regardless of how controlling it might sound, it's like you're coming out and you're having a good time, and you're gonna go home and remember this night. So it's
Yeah,
like
facts.
it's that's something that is like a really good feeling. Like after we'll get on the phone sometimes and be like, "Yo, tonight was crazy." Like,
Yeah,
"Yo, tonight, this song, that song," and it's like
like
just those
crazy.
conversations. If we're having those conversations, I could imagine that the people that were there had a great time, or they have something to say about it too, right? So, I used to also like go out when I used to go out before I was even DJing. I'd be in the club and like with the homies and like they were. I mean, I wasn't DJing in the club at this time. I was still doing it as a hobby, but
Yeah,
I'd like be able to like sometimes call it the next song. Or like I'd hear a slight mix of what's
yeah.
coming in and I'd
I
be
was
like,
I was
"Oh, this is
exactly
coming
like
in."
that too.
And my boys would be like they would like bet me on it sometimes and be like, "Nah." And then after boom, 5 seconds later,
Yeah.
10 seconds later, it's like this is the track that's coming in and like
You know,
that really pushed me too to like really be like, "Okay."
what's funny is like me and my boys, when we used to go out, man, and we would go to door three these times, man. Like door three back in the day, for those who don't know,
Dorothy's been around a long
for
time.
a
Holy.
long time. Like if you look at it, like on King Street, for those who know about King Street, like they're like one of like the last standing clubs on King.
That hasn't rebranded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that hasn't rebranded into a new name. They've kept their name for as long as I can remember. And King Street had cycled same through same that's like Bodega on King used to be same. Um there was like EFS is gone now. Uh some guys I don't even know about Bloke on Fourth. Them guys are gone, then that turned into Cure. So just to show the longevity of how long Door 3 is, but 3's been around. But anyways, I used to go there all the time with my boys, my cousins, and we were there like every Saturday, Friday, Saturday even. And it's just funny because I only say this because I remember me and my friends, we would just know what song this DJ, didn't matter what the
Yeah,
DJ,
yeah.
we would just know, all right, I bet you they're playing this. So I mean, like, you guys probably hear it, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty of it on a 1-2, especially if I play on King. These guys are playing Bobby Shmurda, and then they're mixing in,
Into ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. Classic.
That's a classic
Classic
transition, but
transition.
every time I hear it, it pisses me off because I've heard it so many times, right?
I mean, I've definitely done that over
Oh, me too, man.
way over fucking, I want to say 500 times.
Bro, I'm guilty. I've done it.
Like
I've done it as early as last year. You know what I mean? Sometimes I get into a jam and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna just spin these two because I mean, as cringe as it is, man, them songs still kind of hold weight in the club, bro.
they do, and people when they go out, they really want to hear, they want to hear music that they know and that brings back memories. I feel like that's why sometimes like throwbacks and like certain records like Dreams and Nightmares, even though it's so repetitive, we've heard it millions of times. It's like it
Yeah,
just brings back a certain energy or a certain memory for most people where they're just like, you
yeah,
know,
man. Sometimes you just hear that. Hold up, wait a minute.
yeah.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
after
and
the
it
whole,
goes.
everybody
Yeah,
just starts
everyone's
wilding
going
out. You might
crazy.
be like on the side, not trying to hear this shit. And the moment that you hear "Hold Up, Wait a Minute,"
Yeah,
you're like,
you're in the inside. You're
you might
like,
start, bounce your
yeah.
head a little bit. Something's happening, you know.
Yeah, man. So I guess now that we've talked about how we started, how we met,
Mm-hmm.
again, like obviously you've been DJing for how much? 6 years, you said?
No, I'm gonna age myself. Uh, so as a hobby since 2011,
Like
2010.
seriously,
Seriously,
like seriously,
since
I'm talking about like outside, like going
I've
from.
been, my first club gig was,
That's literally what I was about to ask you
yeah, my
next.
first club gig was 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
And where was that?
at least the first club gig that I can remember was definitely 2016. And that was in Ottawa. That was at I don't know if they're still open. Can't remember the name, but it was in Gatineau.
Mhm.
Um, so all the high school kids would go over there with their fake IDs because you can get in at 18.
Yeah.
18 is the drinking age over there. So I did a Canada Day event there. So obviously that was crazy. My
Right.
first club gig on a Canada Day.
Saying those NPC crowd.
It was super, super,
I'm
super.
talking about like
Like,
TikTok on a dot.
like Kesha,
Yeah.
Black Eyed Peas, David Guetta, like all of that stuff that you could think about. Like it was
Yeah.
all of that. I remember the guy that booked me at one point. He came up and he's just like, "Oh, play faster music." And to me, when someone says that to me, I'm thinking tempo wise. So I was like, I'm at like 100. I'm like a 105 right now. Like this is like at least like moving music.
Hmm.
And then I figured out that they wanted more of like that 120, 125, 130.
Yeah.
Which is, especially when it comes to commercial pop music, it's the NPC shit.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I guess my first gig. See, I think this is the beauty of it is like all of us we start different, right? So I don't know. Maybe I can shed light onto it, but I don't think a lot of people realize that like these gigs that we be doing, especially like in today, a lot of these gigs that we'll be doing, especially on Queen, they're all branded parties,
Especially now.
especially
Especially
now,
now, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like they're branded and curated parties, and so I remember I felt like them times I used to haul around that SR. I used to haul around an SR because I didn't know how to use
Yeah.
CDJs,
So
right?
wait, did you plug the SR? Did you put the SR on top of the club stuff?
If they had the space, I put it to the side.
See, we hate guys like this guy right here. Can't do that.
Yo, but don't get twisted. I'm solid on the CDJs now. I'll put some money on that. But um, yeah, I used to haul around a SR, and that's why I was so not ready to go on King, even though I had the opportunity to, because once my friends, who were owners of spots or promoters of spots, they'd be like, "Yo, whenever you're ready, just let me know. I can put you on, right?"
Hmm.
But I mean, my first gig was at Sorry, and I've come to learn that Sorry has been one of those places where a lot of the DJs that I know and
Hmm.
that I'm really good friends with was kind of their stomping ground.
Yeah.
So I remember that was my first gig. It was at Sorry, and it was a branded party too. And I remember that was with Pat and that was me, Pat, and that was with Shrimp too. And it was lit. It was a good time. Obviously, a lot of people came out because they were out there to support me, and that was fun. And I didn't necessarily spend prime time either.
Yeah.
You know, I had an open and a closing set, and it was just a hella good time. But all that to say, like, yeah, like some people, they get their gigs off clubs, but I started off doing gigs. My first gig was a branded party, and that was like I don't want to say it was a risk, low key, like a little bit of a risk, but obviously like I had to like put a lot of work in
Hmm.
to uh to bring people out. So yeah, man, the first gig. I guess the next thing, if we're gonna stick in the topic of gigs, what's your most memorable gig?
My most memorable gig. I'll say I have two. Um, yeah, and they're both within the past couple years. But going to Australia,
Nice.
um, Australia has like super strict laws when it comes to like the night ending and stuff like that. And not a lot of their clubs are open late. But there was this one
We talking
club
about like they
that
close at 1 o'clock,
I think it's like one or yeah, I think it might be like one or something like that. Like they have some crazy laws. Um,
but they must start early though.
they don't start that much earlier.
So
Yeah,
like
it's just
like a
like
nine o'clock.
they're I don't know, their governor or whoever just set like some crazy law. Like even if you're the owner and it's past a certain time, like if you leave the club, you can't walk back in. It's like really
Damn.
strict. You get
So they had
in
like some
trouble.
sort of curfew.
Yeah. So, but there's this one club. It's like it's like I think it's a Shopify branded or like they have money involved in it.
Right.
It was called like the Abercrombie or something like that, and they're open till like 5 6 a.m. And I got to do a set there alongside some of the other folks that I was with from the city, and
Hmm.
that was a really good experience because one I'm playing in a club in like the other side of the world, like while it's nighttime here, it's morning time there type shit, right? So
Right. Exactly.
it was just a whole different environment. I didn't have to really think about, you know, if I'm gonna play this, somebody else might play it, or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. And we had a late set too, or at least I had a late set. It was at like 2 a.m.
Right.
And the people were just vibing, bro. Like they didn't care what I was playing. They didn't care how I was playing it. They were just having a great time. They came out to dance, and that's exactly what they did. There were
Yeah.
people. That was like probably the first time that I had people like on their phone throwing up signs like having like light shit like
Yeah.
at the front of the booth like just going crazy.
Yeah.
And then probably the second one that I would say is the All the Fields concert that I did last year. It's
Oh
an
yeah, that was
R&B
sick.
concert.
That was sick.
These guys from the States, they run it. They were doing like a tour along in the States, and they decided to do a Toronto stop. Um, and honestly, I had no connection to these guys. They just happened to follow on my and see my Instagram,
Hmm.
and was just like, "Yo, we think he'll be a good fit." They booked me. By the time I went on, it was a sold out show too at the Opera House. So by the time I went on,
How many people?
I think Opera House is around 800.
That's a lot of
Um,
people.
for sure, by the time I went on, it was like at least 700. Like it was so packed that like
So they
just
came
trying to
early.
people came early.
That's
Like
what's up.
people showed up on time, they came early, they had a good time. And that was crazy because yeah, just playing in front of that many people and for my entire set, it's like I had the whole crowd singing songs word for word,
That's like the
and like
best feeling ever.
it was like looking back at the footage was like when I was like, oh shit, that was a really lit night. And that was one of those experiences that like I felt like I wanted to do for so long in terms of playing in front of that many people.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I would say those two. How about you?
Uh, Most memorable gig for me. Uh, I would say the first time I did um AM/PM. I think
Sunday service?
if it wasn't, so what it wasn't Sunday service, but it was on a Sunday, and it was It was Filipino Independence Day, and
Okay.
they had stacked the lineup. It was me, it was Christian, Pat. I think Darcy Pam was there. No, that time. Yeah, Pam was there. Who else was there? There's a lot of us. Saki, yeah, Shao Saki, he was there too. Who else was there? There was so many of us, but I think like that was like what year was that? Like 23? Yeah, and I was like I said, I started that year. I started that year.
Yeah.
And AMPM has always been one of those spots that I had, me I had circled as a place that I want to be at because I think everyone has their mecca. Everyone has their Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Everyone has their Staples Center where
Hmm.
if I can spin anywhere in the city, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
For me, it's AMPM. That's where I want it to be. So that I remember that night, and it was also I think that was also the weekend of my birthday too. Yeah,
So it
it
was a lit one.
was.
That was a lit weekend then.
Yeah,
That was a bender. That was a
yeah.
bender.
That was like I had like a 5-day bender them times, and that night at AMPM, Tommy was there. That was a really good time, and that's like the first time I ever spun at a place where energy was on 10. I'm talking about I'm playing like live up to my name, and everyone's just off the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
Louis
And to
pouncing
be
across my body, like
just
going
to let the
crazy.
people know you were already on CDJs by then.
I was, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So you're locked in.
I wasn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like I said, like the first gig I had started was a Sorry, and I think like I just want to just shout out Justin and all of the Sorry guys because they were they were the first people that allowed me to go into their space outside of club hours and practice
Oh, word.
under CDJs. Justin came up to me, he's like, "Yo, if you ever want to practice,
This is that. Sorry.
is that Sorry?" Yeah, he's like, "If you ever want to practice and get on the CDJs, so you get more familiar." Because I think even he knew he's like, you know, if you're gonna DJ, you can't be logging around this
100%. Yeah.
controller,
Yeah.
And I was doing that for a good 3-4 months. I was doing that
Yeah.
because I was intimidated by all those knobs and buttons and whatnot. But then I realized, if I wanted to take that next step, then I needed to hop on CDJs. But again, like it didn't really take me too long to understand how to use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, AM/PM definitely most memorable gig. Um, and then also probably uh Spin the Block, which was last year. Spin the Block in the summertime, end of June. That was really lit. Like, and you're talking about that probably had like maybe 500 people in like a big ass warehouse, which was sick. Energy was sick. So shout out Jamie, shout out Spin the Block. Like that was definitely one of those. And I think I was gonna ask you, but I'm pretty sure you already maybe you have something else, but I'm talking about like what was like a major event. I know all the fields is probably a big major event for me, but do you have anything else that
Major event. That would probably be honestly, I don't think it would be one thing. It would be just like being a touring DJ.
right?
Um, I toured with Pyrex.
Yeah.
So we went to LA, Detroit, Washington, Atlanta, um, and I don't know if it was Boston. It was somewhere else. But yeah, we were doing like this. It was like a Def Jam, Crevassier tour,
That's
and
what's up.
basically all like their new signees were around the tour, but also they would have like one of like their main acts open. So it's
Yeah.
like spinning alongside people like, or the artist wise people like Saint John,
Mhm.
um, BB Borelli,
Mhm.
just names that had really like good records or big records at a
At
time,
that time, right?
and just being involved in that, and I think part of it too is like what makes it one of those memorable situations is because that's you realize how certain people are treated at a certain status level. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like this kid that's coming from Toronto that's DJing for whoever, but like the hospitality is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like they
So
treat you so
red
yeah, it's
carpet
like
treatment.
red carpet treatment. So that really makes it like an eye opener on just like what's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, um, I think this was 2023 again. I was blessed enough to spin again at door 3. I was spinning for Polo G. I mean, like
Okay, yeah.
I don't think again, and I'm not trying to like look down on any other people's come up or stuff like that. But I don't think a lot of people can say that they spun with someone like Polo G within their first that's within my first year.
Yeah.
Just
Especially
kinda
in
curious.
Canada. In
Yeah,
America that there's a
yeah,
lot of
for sure.
people,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like here in Toronto, you know that there's a pool of DJs that are gonna be playing when these artists come into town.
100%, 100%.
So the fact that I was able to get into that and I had shared that night with Pat as well, which was dope. So yeah, that was a crazy one. That was a crazy one. But I couldn't believe it. I remember Pat was we were spinning, but like I had the part when Polo G came and I was there. He was performing. I had to
Yeah.
play songs while he was performing. It was probably like the most nerve wracking experience, to be honest. I remember I was sweating buckets over there. Like if you go on my IG, you see the pictures, you can see how serious my face is. But yeah, that was probably one of the most major events for me. Obviously, not something that I built myself
Mhm.
because there's obviously a lot of events that I'm proud of that I've been a part of like DIY kind of,
Yeah.
and just you're doing the promo and
Doing everything.
everything,
Yeah.
but from a club aspect, definitely Polo G. A lot of people started fucking with me after they
After
seen that
that.
I was with Polo G, which was pretty sick. Um, but I mean, other than that, I feel like every DJ, uh, we got like our approach.
Mhm.
We got I don't know, we got rituals or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess like, yo, what's your approach?
Which I'm actually excited to ask a lot of the people that we're gonna have on here this
Yeah,
question,
because
to
I
be
feel like a
honest.
lot of people. I know me and you talked about this off camera, and me and you, we have two different approaches when it comes to DJ. Like how we go about going into the night
Yeah.
and then stepping foot into that.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, for me, it depends. Like, it obviously depends. I'm not gonna download music every single day.
Yeah,
I do try to stay on top of keeping up with music or keeping up with building my crates.
yeah,
Um, if it's an event where I know that, like, if I'm spending the entire night by myself, I'm probably not gonna do too much preparation. I might
right,
practice the day of or the night before, some along those lines.
right.
But if it's a situation where it's like I know that I'm going in for a specific set, I will most likely set up some sort of a crate just in preparation, just kind of like as a backup or as a starting place, so that when I
Mhm,
get into the party, I'm not really doing too much thinking.
mhm.
Um, but definitely, like, yeah, I definitely go through my crates a lot. Definitely like to organize my stuff a lot. Um, I use smart crates heavily, so
Yeah.
it goes with like, making sure certain things are in my smart crates. But yeah, download music. If I can, if I don't have to work that day, I'd rather not. I'd rather just chill, focus on the fact that I got a gig later.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say those are like for sure my like rituals when it comes to like gig days or whatever is coming up.
Yeah, I think for me,
This guy doesn't even have crates. He literally just has one
bro,
folder.
stop taking. I was literally about to get to that, and
Like
like,
I don't understand, guys.
so like for me, man,
Like
yo, I remember because this guy already just put the cat out the bag, bro. But the way I approach it, I'll download music and I'll just see what's new and whatever, and I just slap it onto my laptop. I don't tag it. I don't put it in a separate folder. I started doing that now, but I
crazy.
didn't do it. I didn't do it for the hottest man. I just slap it on my laptop because I don't know. I felt like I want to challenge myself. Make sure
But
because
you know what? I give you your props because when I watch you spin, a lot of the times you're just searching shit.
yeah,
Like, and a lot of DJs do that. A lot of DJs are
for
just
sure.
searching shit, but the fact that you're able to remember sometimes is like for me, I don't know. I need to have things in a certain place unless I know specifically that I want to play this song next.
Yeah.
But if I'm just going with the vibe of what's happening,
Yep.
like so I don't know. For me to search it sometimes it's crazy.
But
Like
that's
me being organized is what works best for me. But
yeah.
you searching is like we've been in the club and this guy will literally just be like bro.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's just what worked for me. I mean, like, I feel like um for me, I really just it's when I step foot into the spot, I'll plug my shit in, get a quick warm up, and this is gonna lead into our next segment for sure. I think this is like out of this whole podcast, this is what I really want to shine the most light on because I feel like it's the most important. But we'll get into that. But I do my warm up, and then I already have a basis of how I'm gonna do it, and um, I just get my warm up in, and then it's just really feeding off the crowd.
Yeah, that too.
I really
100%.
feed off the crowd, and that's why, as crazy as it sounds, that's why I don't play with crates because I don't want to. Maybe I could do better in the sense of having crates by genre, but I feel like for me, I'm so confident on my library when I know where stuff is and I know how to navigate it that I
Yeah.
don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Versus, I see someone like you, it's club crate this, warm up, prime, da 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 da. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember we were spinning at Kissa and Mendoza was there and this guy was looking at me spin. He's like, "You spin like this?" Like I literally don't have a crate. The only crates that I have are crates that of recording and crates of yeah, just recordings, and like let's say like I'll do a set for like a radio,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's I'm on all music. That's it. That's literally how it goes. But yeah, I mean, call me crazy, but it works. Like, and I think you can attest to this. And again, not to not I'm just saying this in the most humble way possible. You can attest to it. I do it, and I do it good.
Yeah.
Like I don't. There's some I know there's some DJs that do it, and I'll tell you, it don't sound the greatest.
100%. Yeah.
I think
No,
it's just
I think it comes down to like what you said though. It's like knowing your library,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Knowing your library is gonna always beat how organized you are at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
you can have your shit organized, but if you don't know your library, then you're cooked.
hmm
You can have the most organized library from genre to year, but if you don't know how to navigate through it, and again, right? That's why like, and that's no knock to people who do it, but like again, you don't know what cards you're dealt with
yeah. I
in
think the other
terms of the
thing to take
crowd,
in too though is like it depends on like you're used to spinning at let's say a lot of these clubs that play the same music.
right?
You know, if you're going from like a hip hop club to a dancehall club to a fucking top 40 club, like being organized does come in handy in those places because now you're not playing the same music every single week. So or the same genre every single week.
Right.
So you're tapping into different crowds. So being organized in that sense
Oh,
definitely
definitely.
helps. Yeah.
Especially if you're gonna be spitting one of those parties that are like catered to that sound.
Yeah.
I definitely think like being organized in that sense, where you can just pop in like if you're spinning a Spanish party, you can just
hmm
pop in a
Yeah.
Spanish. Look at your Spanish crate. Go from like dembow to reggaeton and all that stuff. But for the most part, I just know where I'm spinning and I know how it goes. And I just really think it's about feeding off to the crowd because sometimes I've tried, believe me, I've tried where thing is, again, like I said, you never know what cards you're dealt with in terms of what people are coming to the spot.
hmm
So like I know some people that they stick top beginning to end. They stick through like a they have a curated set.
Yeah.
I never come to the club with a curated set. I come to the club
If that works,
if that works, that works.
kudos to you
Yeah,
for
kudos
sure.
to you
Yeah.
because half of the time, not even half, I want to say 95% of the time I'm freestyling,
hmm
right? And like, don't get it twisted. I think every DJ, maybe I'm wrong, but for me at least, I have a one set that I can memorize from heart that I know
It
it
works.
works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, if you guys want to know what it is, for me, it's it's that Chief Keef run,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go in that like 2016, 17. You know, I'll run some Chief Keef. I'll run Don't Like. You know, all like those stuff that's gonna make him yell.
Yeah.
And again, so like leading into the next topic, it's DJ etiquette, right? So it's like I feel like I shared a reel with you,
Mm-hmm.
and I seen a reel where it's like I feel like DJs don't understand etiquette and how how a night should go. You know, for me, it's like you have your walk-in music, you have your warm-up music, then you have your prime, and then you have your closing stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of DJs, um, they just want to get to
Everyone just wants to play the
the
hottest
prime shit.
record, and
Yeah.
I think like that's you know
Yo,
it's
I'm gonna
just
say
not
right
the
now.
way
Hold
to.
on, I'm gonna say right now, bro. Listen, doing the prime set is the easiest part.
100%.
Is the easiest part. I think where you really elevate and really um you really what's this like transform or even just get
Just
better.
becoming better DJ
Yeah, is the
is the warm
opening.
up, the
Is the
opening, the
warm up
warm
and the
up set.
opening.
If you can keep the crowd engaged until the time that whether it's the primetime DJ that's coming on, whether it's your homie that's spinning after you, whether
Yeah.
it's you spinning by yourself,
Yeah.
if you can keep the crowd on the dance floor or at least get the crowd on the dance floor within your warm up, your opening set, for the rest of the night, they're gonna trust you. And at the end of the day, it comes down to you winning the crowd over.
Of course. And
The
you gotta win
earliest
them
point
out.
to
You
do
gotta win
that
them
is from the
early.
start. So
Yeah.
it's like we everybody as DJs really need to be more like put more pride and energy into working on your warm-up sets, on your walk-in sets, on your opening sets, whatever you want to call it.
Or even just song
Just
selection.
song selection, like understanding that even though this is the hottest record and maybe you might be in the temple that it's the hottest records at, that does not mean that you need to play it. Like there's so much music in this world. We have libraries of terabytes on
Mhm.
gigs on whatever it is that you don't need to play the hottest record. We don't need to hear Sexy Red right now at 10:30. We don't need to hear Little Baby Freestyle at 12 o'clock. Like,
Facts.
like
It's
they
crazy,
like
bro.
let the night play out
Yeah.
properly.
I mean, like, I think I think that's why, like, obviously I've been lucky enough that, majority of the DJs that I've worked with, it's been easy going.
Hmm.
But some of the DJs, whether it's that they're just so used to playing by themselves and they get to control the night. But I think like it's just important to know what songs to play at the right time. I think maybe that's like one of my pet peeves, man. Like I just feel like if you're gonna DJ, it's just the golden rule. Like it's one of
100%.
the 10 commandments
Yeah.
for DJ
Yeah.
is knowing what to play at the right time.
Yep.
Because no one wants to come in at 11:30 and they're hearing Kalani. You know what I mean? A song that's normally played later into the night. Or like you're playing like Get It Sexy at like fucking 12 o'clock.
I remember when Taliban came out, I went to the club and the DJ played Taliban at like 11. Nobody was there yet. And I was there for a birthday party, so we were there early.
Yeah.
Nobody was there yet. 11:45 comes around. He played Taliban again. 12:30 came around. He played Taliban again. I was just like, bro, like, like,
Yeah.
at what point are you not realizing that you're fucking up, that you're just doing the most? Because a lot of the people have been here, so we've heard you play the same song 3 different times, and the reactions were all three different reactions. Because it's like
Yeah, because
you
there's
just
some people that have been there from early and they're
from
like, you're
early.
playing this again?
I get you right. So it's
Yeah.
like understanding what to play and when to play it is so important. And I think it doesn't necessarily mean that like you have to start the night off with slow music. You have to start the night off with this genre versus that genre. It's just song choice and curating the vibes to the point where like you make people want to go to the bar and buy a drink, and then you make somebody want to come on the dance floor and then start dancing, and then once the girls start dancing, the guys want to start dancing, and then
Yeah.
everyone's starting to build a little sweat, so now they want to go buy another drink. Like I think part of even the way that DJs play like the set from opening to close, we're supposed to also look at it in a sense of like we're catering to the venue that we're at. We want them to make money because they make money, we
We
make
make
money.
money.
They make
Exactly.
money, they want us back more and more.
Exactly.
So it's like catering to that vibe. If you can't keep people in the building, then the bar's not making any money.
Yeah.
If you're playing the hottest songs early, then people are gonna leave early.
Yeah, because then
Like
you burn them
you
out way
burn
too
right.
early.
So it's like I feel like there's steps to it. And we've spoken about it before based off of like, the certain songs we like to play. Like, I don't know if you want to say something, but like earlier on when I started DJing, it was always like throwbacks. Like we're always
Mhm.
playing like the early throwback
Yeah.
hip hop, R&B stuff. And honestly, that stuff still works till this day.
Yeah.
The 50 cents,
But that's the
the
thing though. People gotta realize that, you know, yeah, it's older, but these songs are timeless.
timeless.
So you can play these throwbacks during a walk in, even a warm up,
And
even.
everybody knows those songs,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody might like know Sexy Red right now or know Bossman D-Lo. They probably heard it, but they
Yeah.
don't know it word for word. Those songs, they know it word for word. So they come in and they're hearing that. They're already getting into the groove of like, I'm about to
Okay.
have a good
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. Instead of like you're just coming out, especially like for me personally, you want to ease into it because you don't want to like you got to make sure these guys get some liquor in their system because what happens when you play a Sexy Red song and it's too early? They're not really vibing.
Yeah.
When you get to that peak point where some people are plastered out of their mind and they hear that one song and then that's how you get the energy up. You know what I mean? Like I just I just think again like the etiquette of DJing is just like I think everyone should understand and I can attest to it myself because again when I started out DJing I had my first gig on King Street, and it was at Door 3, obviously, right? And we had done it on a Sunday. This was a Thanksgiving Sunday, so it was a long weekend, and we did an event. I did event alongside, CJ,
Hmm.
and then Garth,
Hmm.
and this was like our Sundays on a Sunday party, and that time too. Again, I was hauling around a SR,
Yeah.
right, or a SR2 at now. You know what I mean? But I was there and again, like I was so used to playing on Queen where it was a more of a curated party and you're
Hmm.
playing for your friends. So I had to learn it the hard way. I was playing songs that I wanted to play and the crowd wasn't rocking with
Yeah.
it. And this is what I'm talking about etiquette like and expanding your library. I think a lot of DJs got to like if you're going to take DJing serious, you got to expand your library. Like, don't get it twisted. Like there's a lot of songs that I'm only finding out recently because I didn't really know these songs.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about understanding. You got to look at it like I think DJing is more of you got to look at it as a whole, not just playing what you want to play,
Yeah. You can
right?
have the best taste in the world
Yeah, you
and you
got
go
to.
to play for a certain crowd and like they
They're
don't
not
care
fucking
about
with it.
any of that shit, right? So
Exactly.
and that it kind of goes back to like when we're talking about dreams and nightmares and certain records like certain people really go out and they want to hear those songs. And then us as DJs, we're kind of like, yo, we're over this. Like we play
Yeah.
it so much, but we know the reaction that we get from it, right? So it's part of our job to play those songs,
I mean,
you know?
as robotic as it is, like
Bring a different flavor to it,
of course,
based on
like
how we mix it
yeah,
or
how
what
you
songs
mix
we
it
mix it with,
exactly.
whatever. But
Again, yeah, man. Like I learned the hard way, and Tommy can see this. Tommy has seen me start to where I am today. I remember that night. I was pissed because like this is how much of serious I took it
yeah, yeah.
because you know it was mad discouraging for me to spin and then not get the reaction that I'm used to getting
Hmm.
because back when I was doing other events, it was my friends,
Yeah,
so we were going crazy. It was like spinning at home.
right.
And you just have all your friends over and you're all
Hmm.
turning up,
Yeah.
right? Versus, you go on somewhere more commercial like on King and not everyone wants to hear it or not everyone necessarily listens to what you listen to.
Yeah.
So I remember after that, and I say this like that night was the best and worst night of my life because it was worse in the sense where like I was like, oh fuck, like should I even take this serious? Like,
Hmm.
should I even be a DJ?
Yeah.
It brought me to that point.
Discouraged you for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But then I was like, nah. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that because I know I knew at that time I knew I can mix.
Hmm.
It's just about expanding my library. So I remember I locked myself in my room from that point on, and that was October of 23. Um, actually, October. That was October, maybe, or no, that was. I think that was even 2022. It's actually crazy. Yeah, I gotta look at it. But anyways, I had locked myself in my room and I just forced myself to download music. I'm talking about searching artists and going through every single page on BPM Supreme because I didn't even have heavy hits them times, but
Yeah.
BPM Supreme and downloading
And BPM
everything.
Supreme is one of the newer ones because they just came out in 2020, 2019.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so BPM Supreme was my first record pool, but yeah, I would go search artist after artist after artist, stuff that I wasn't even listening to,
Yeah.
just trying to download all that stuff because I knew they were playing at the clubs. And then yeah, I'm just again another big thing too is practicing.
Practice. Practice
Like
is so important.
I would wake up, call me disgusting, bro. I would wake up in the morning. I wouldn't even brush my teeth yet. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd open up my laptop, plug my shit in,
Just
and
get
just
to it.
mix. Just understanding my library, which helped me to where I am today because it's muscle memory to me now to like search.
Yeah.
So I thought I never needed to have crates because I was always doing that.
Yeah.
Just going from 50 BPM all the way to 120
Yeah.
and just mix song after song after song. And then eventually, for me at least, like I already knew I had good etiquette and obviously I knew how to blend. So I was like, all right, this is easy. And
Hmm.
then eventually this led me to how I am where I am now.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm just saying, like, guys, man, you up and coming DJs, man, etiquette, bro, is the biggest thing. It's not just about playing the popping
At the
songs.
end of the day, man, just respect the craft. I think that's what it comes down to, which, for me, that's always something that I've been big on when it comes to anything that I get myself involved in, really, like with engineering, with, producing, with DJing, my love for cars. Like, I truly just really respect whatever it is that I'm in love with at that time, and I try to honor it in the right way. So whether that is practicing, whether that is doing my homework on
Just
on
knowledge.
knowledge, on
Yeah.
my making sure my crates are organized, downloading my own music, creating my own sound effects, whatever it is that like I felt like is necessary for me to really like honor this craft of DJing. Even in the sense of like turntablism, like I felt, if anything, I fell in love with the idea of scratching,
Right.
before I fell in love with the idea of two songs blending. It
Right.
was like, and I'm not a sick scratcher, but that's really what brought me into it. That's why I went and got a pair of turntables,
Yeah.
so like I can really honor that. I feel like some people now, when they get into DJing, like they don't even care about going to look at what turntables are. Like they just want to
Yeah.
get a controller and just hit the button and then that's it. It's like I feel like part of it is you doing your homework, doing your research, and really like giving back to the community the way that it's giving to you right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like, um, you know, that's what happens when some of these, or if you're just starting out, these newer DJs, like, you'll hear a lot of, oh, you're just a bedroom DJ.
Yeah,
And that's literally what it is. Like, you're just a bedroom DJ, meaning that you only place like songs that you know and stuff like that. Just
yeah.
not put in those reps and those hours into understanding and learning the craft and doing all of that. So I just feel like, for anyone that's up and coming, if you don't want to be labeled as a bedroom DJ, you got to put in the time. You got all these you got a lot of these up and coming and hungry DJs. And again, like for me, like I said, I came in the bread of DJs that came through during COVID.
Yeah,
And a lot of us DJs that came through during COVID caught a lot of slack because literally you're in the bedroom playing. You weren't
yeah. You weren't actually playing for a
like
crowd.
Mike says this, you weren't shooting with us in the gym.
Gym, 100%.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
But I think if I'm speaking for myself, where I caught a lot of respect was because you would come through, you would listen to me play, and yeah, I'm new, but like I understood
I think
how
the crowd reactions, like from
that for
what I could
sure.
say for you, is 100%. Like even if your skills weren't all the way there, it was the crowd reactions based off of your song choices.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's where I've mastered the craft of song selection
Yeah,
and when to play songs at the right time, which is I think like always every time someone asks me like, "Oh, what's some of these DJs that will open," and which personally like I feel like. if you're a new DJ, I don't even think you should open. If I'm being honest, like if you haven't fully understand, because opening is the most important part.
Opening is the most important part. I've seen parties where somebody opened and the person that came after them is the person that usually shells every night, and they had a rough time because
Yeah,
the
because
opener
you can't get
didn't.
everyone
Yeah.
started. I think people gotta understand that they gotta like a lot of DJs or newer DJs gotta understand that you get the opening slot, just know that you're being tested.
Hmm.
Like that's why they give you the opening slot. I feel like a lot of these guys they look at the opening slot like, oh fuck, like you're just giving me garbage time when you're literally getting the most
That's
important.
you got to prove yourself.
Yeah, like how else are you gonna
If you could open, you could play prime time.
100%,
Like
100%, 100%? I'll stand on that.
closing, nobody cares because everyone's leaving anyways.
Yeah,
But like,
that two. Hey man, if you can get that 2 to 2:30, because there's times where I've been spinning and I'll play a like just how the set times work,
mhm,
and there's nights where I'm spinning with you or I'm spinning with Rennie, and like motherfuckers are staying till three
still staying
o'clock.
till yeah,
Like they want us to keep
or
going.
even if it's 2:30, they're staying.
They're
Even though
staying.
no liquor is being served, they're still
They're
there,
staying, bro.
staying.
They're
So
staying, and that's what happened to me. I was spinning at Kissa, and it was relatively slow, and bro, I had everyone there from start to finish till like 3:30. Club closed at 3.
mhm.
They extended till 3:30.
Oh yeah, I was upstairs that night. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like these new gen DJs like don't look at opening sets as like, oh, these guys they just want to give me garbage time, or they're just using me to, because I think a lot of things is a lot of what they're saying is like, oh, you just want me to you want to put me on, and then you want me to open, and then you want me to bring all my people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is I understand. I understand to a certain extent, but that opening slot is like a real your real test. I can remember that's how it was for me when I got my first Miss Monday, and that was with Rennie.
Mhm.
I had open that 10 to 12. You know what I mean? And I shelled. So yeah, just etiquette, man. I think etiquette's really important.
Super big, guys. All right, let's wrap this up.
You want to do some rapid fire?
Yeah.
If you can play one genre for the rest of your life, I think that's pretty easy.
I'm just gonna say dancehall, just
It's
because
because he's Jamaican,
I'm
bro.
Jamaican.
I think for me, it's easy too, bro. I'm not gonna say I'm the king of it, but that 70 to 80 BPM, that trap hip hop, take you that any day of the week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm playing that shit. I think okay,
Next one.
next one. Oh, this was
Playing originals or edits? We're not spending too much time on this. We'll just answer.
Yo, we could have a whole
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole episode about this.
Let's just answer it, and we'll leave it for one of our guests to get
Ah
into.
man, yo, all you edit guys don't come from my head, but I'm all about the originals. I'm all about originals.
Playing originals. I've seen it happen where I played an edit and the reaction wasn't there compared to if I was to play the original. So
I'm all about originals. You can play the edits, but I always think if you're gonna play an edit, you should mix in the original or mix in the original into the edit. But yeah, we'll keep it at that because that's a whole other that can be a whole other topic. And then yeah, man, what's your favorite track for 2024?
my favorite track for 2024. I actually didn't even think about this one.
It's rapid fire, man. I
Favorite
already
track
know
for
what my track
2024.
is.
Damn.
It's not rapid
Okay, you
fire.
go. Okay, you go. Go.
Oh, bro, it's get it sexy, bro.
Get it
That
sexy.
my sexy red man. That shit had everyone in chokehold in 2024. That's not even. That is even not. That's not even a. That's not even an understatement, bro. Or that's just an understatement. Sorry. That shit had everyone on straps. You heard that first? The. Holy.
I mean, I don't know if it's my. I guess I don't know if I could think about my favorite, but one that I obviously love to play was TGIF.
Oh, Glorilla.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought you were gonna say something like Go-Go or some shit like that.
No, because was Go Go last year or was that 2023?
Or one of the newer ones was Drift.
No,
Like
that
one of
was
those?
2023 too.
Oh
I
shit.
mean,
Maybe
we
okay.
could say Whites, or we could say I don't know. Masaka had a really good year.
Yeah, he did.
Like, yeah, him and TJ.
Yeah, yeah. So
In
you
terms
said
of Big Breeze,
yeah,
like
but that was like later half of the
that was the
later
later
half of the
has.
year.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, get it sexy for me and you're telling TGIF. Guess what? Those are both 70 BPM songs, easy to
Easy,
mix.
yeah. What, 73,
Yeah,
70,
73, 74.
74, yeah.
And then I guess we'll end it off for the rapid fires. Your biggest pet peeve in the club industry, or in the club, or just industry.
We're going
Talk your
there.
shit. Talk your shit.
My biggest pet peeve is waiting
Talk your shit, bro.
longer than I need to wait to get paid. Like,
I think you speak for
and
everyone.
longer than I need is the night of. Like, there's no reason that you guys shouldn't pay me in cash or write me a check that night. My service was provided. There was no reason that it should be a net 30. There's no reason that the net 30 should end up being net 60. Like,
Clip that.
for
Clip
like,
that. Darcy, clip
you know,
that.
for a little, what, 300, 350?
That's what I'm
Like, the
saying,
budgets
bro.
are already like not the best in terms of like what
And
DJs
that's
should actually get
again,
paid.
bro. That's another topic that we
But
could talk about a whole episode about. Is about
getting paid on time.
getting paid on time. Yeah. For me, it's the equipment, man. Cause I'm on the same boat as you too. Definitely, that's obviously up there. But for me, it's equipment. Some of these clubs want us to spin on some jail equipment, bro.
CDJs are sticking, buttons are missing.
Yeah. Their speakers are blown
Speakers
out.
are blown out.
Oh fuck, man. There's just so many fucking the fucking booth is dirty. Simple shit like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Fucking definitely the equipment. But I think yeah, we can wrap it up right there.
yeah. I mean, this is a like good little,
This is
you
just
know,
just the
warm up.
intro. There's an intro. There's a lot of definitely a lot of stuff to talk about. I know a lot of other of our peers have a lot to say, so we're gonna be doing a lot of guest episodes coming up. But just for now, you got us two about our backstory, how we started,
Hmm.
and just the shit that we deal with, and obviously things that we think that the like DJs can improve on. But there's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more stories to tell from just us and even just from our peers.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout. Where can they find us, bro?
Stay tapped in.
Where
You
can
can
they
find
find
us
us?
on basically what, IG.
Yeah, what's the
It's CIGAR, so ICGAR.podcast. Then we're on TikTok.
yeah, we're gonna get TikTok going. We got YouTube. We're gonna get YouTube. We're gonna upload this on YouTube, obviously. We gotta set up.
We got X.
y- we gotta set that up
Gotta
too.
set up X.
But right now you can find us on IG. It's both in our bios.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Just stay tapped in. This was like the icebreaker for what's about to, happen with this podcast this year. I feel like a lot of people have been reached out to us and they're just like, yo, I want to get on, or like,
yeah,
you're starting a podcast. A lot of people are like excited for this.
yes,
So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really dope. We're bringing something new to the scene as DJs, for the DJs, by the
exactly.
DJs.
Yeah,
And then also we're gonna try to incorporate other people too, like, club owners, promoters, maybe even bottle girls. I don't know, like,
Fuck.
see what stories they got. I feel like they got some crazy stories because
Probably.
you know how the industry is, right? So
Yeah, man.
yeah, man.
Just again, just to end it off, man. Like, we gotta shout out all the DJs in the scene. I'm not gonna name any names. Anyone who's really, anyone who's doing their thing, and anyone who's willing to learn. So shout out to you guys. Obviously, shout out to the spaces. We're at Links right now, so shout out Links.
Shout out Link. Shout out my man Darcy over there behind the camera.
We got Tommy,
Shout
biggest
out Tommy,
supporter.
biggest supporter for real. Always
Yeah, I
there.
mean, shout out the clubs that
Tommy's
we've
running
played.
Pro Tools right now too. This guy's an engineer today, so
Shout out to the clubs that have hired. I want to just speak on for me that have hired me. I can name so many places, but shout out to you guys, and obviously I want to just like I just want to say like as much as we all need each other. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Yeah.
We need the space. The owner, like the club, needs us.
Hmm.
So I mean, hopefully, 2025 we can just work together and just try to make the city special and have some memorable nights.
Yeah. Facts. I'm with you on that.
But let's cheers to that.
Cup's empty, but
Let's cheers to that.
fill it up.
Shout out to you guys. That's episode 1. We're logging off. And we'll see you in the next episode with a special guest too. With a special guest.
Yeah, special.